How's it going, everybody? Mav here. This is going to be an interesting thing. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to Fun Speculation. And hey, this talk this time may not be very fun, right? It may not be very fun because we got some stuff to talk about. We got some Nintendo stuff to talk about. And I just got, I don't know if it's like, I feel like I got stuff to get off my chest or what, you know what I mean? But I feel like I got a lot to say about Nintendo, and I've been bottling a lot of it up. I say some stuff occasionally, right? But I don't let it all out, right? I feel like I got to let it all out in one stream, right? So how's it going, Masuko? Thanks for being here. Thanks for the follow. All Odal. Is that how? If I'm saying that right? I appreciate it. If you follow our channel at all, you know we talk a lot about Xbox and also talk a lot about some of the PlayStation games, and we have the Xbox Ultimate Podcast, and we have the Fun Pop. We're talking about movies and stuff, and there's not a lot of Nintendo talk to have right now. And it's a weird thing. And I even know like some Nintendo content creators, right, that just have run out of things to talk about and just aren't really even excited about it, So it's kind of hard to think about positives for me or to talk about with this. So I tend to not talk about it at all. So that's where this stream is going to come in. Let's gonna let it out and give some of my opinions and thoughts on where Nintendo's at right now with their direction, what I would like to see from them, what I would like to see change, and also why are we in the position that we're in right now? Because hey, this ain't cutting it for me anymore. Like it's just not doing the trick anymore. What's up, Rick? How's it going, dude? So for my background as a gamer, right? I've played. Started off with the Intellivision was my first console. I played the Sega Master System was my second console, and although my friends all had the NES, and I played the crap out of it, right? Then finally one day we were able to get a SNES, and I got it for my birthday. I think I was like 8 or 9. And it was such an awesome day to get that and play all these SNES games. It was amazing. I absolutely loved that console. There's so many different games that came out back then. A lot, and there's so many good ones. There's RPGs and new Mario games and all this stuff. And then the Nintendo 64 came out, and I remember getting that for Christmas one year. And I was one of those kids that like had the pictures taken of them at Christmas in the home video. And I'm just ripping the box, the Christmas box open. My parents had to wait in line for like all night to get it. You know what I mean? I was so excited. I finally got the N64, and 3D gaming was a thing on the 64. Mario was 3D worlds now. All that stuff, right? It was amazing. We had all these great games. So many great games, not just from Nintendo, but multiplats were on there as well. So much awesome stuff. And then it carried it even though GameCube was a little it didn't do as well. Like it still, there was a lot of great things on there. Resident Evil 4 was even on GameCube, right? Then we had the Wii. The Wii exploded. It became a huge phenomenon. I actually love the Wii. It had a lot of great stuff on it. It became a platform where there's a lot of shovelware. They lost their way towards the second half of that generation. First half of the generation of the Wii. It's amazing. They even had the virtual console. You could go and buy all these things, old games from the old systems and all this stuff. And it was a great backward compatible machine. Then they had the Wii U, which they didn't know what to do with. They didn't market it right. You know, they didn't know how to handle the Wii U. They just marketed it, and when they marketed it, they announced it. When they made the announcement, they just showed the handheld thing, and people didn't really understand what it was. Uh, they did, and then they didn't make games for it. They had some good games early, only a few, but then they didn't really have any plans of making games for the machine, so it failed. They didn't handle it properly, but it is probably the actually best Nintendo console they've ever made. If you're just speaking of the console itself, then we got this. This is the Switch, right? Now everybody was really excited for this when it came out. Um, we had the Switch, we had the which was the to me it's more of a follow up from the 3DS than it is actually the Wii U. To me, this is like was their answer to try and meet both worlds, the console gamer and the handheld gamer. It succeeded because it had really good games early on. You had Breath of the Wild, and then you had Mario, right? All, and then you had Mario. You had Mario Kart. All these games within the first like year or so. It was a smash success. And then last year they had Animal Crossing, even so that was a huge hit. I think this has been out for like 4 years or so now, and it's just even even though you had some games that were good at the time, I still feel like it was a little dated even at launch, right? Which has been kind of a common Nintendo thing, even like with all their consoles, because since I would say since the Wii, they haven't really been pushing like forward, like graphics and they're always behind like the competition with power and all that stuff, which is understandable. Like they're making a different kind of system, you know. But this was like almost too far because this is, you know, this was a handheld, right? To me, this is not a console. To me, this is a handheld gaming device that you can get to show up on your screen, on your TV via a dock, right? You could do that with your phone, right? Like I even have an app for my Samsung on the PC. I just like plug in my phone to the PC and I get my screen up on the PC, right? Um, it's for me that's what this is. It's a handheld gaming device, a good handheld gaming device that you can play on a display. You're supposed to get a little power boost or whatever from docking it. I think it's because of saving on battery usage or something. I'm not exactly sure why or how it works. But you know, we were really excited for the possibility of a Switch Pro uh, when they were going to announce a new Switch model, and instead we got the Switch OLED. Switch OLED, hey, it was a cool announcement for the screen, but you're not getting any actual hardware, uh, power capability, or anything like that improvement. So only Ethernet jack in the dock. A screen looks a little bit better. Games aren't going to be any better though. They're not going to be pushing more boundaries. They're not going to be having higher quality textures. Not going to be able to make bigger worlds, nothing of that is being pushed forward. So we're relegated to this device that is less powerful than a phone was 4 or 5 years ago. Still today, coming out with the new games. And that is not even something that's happening very often because guess what? There's not a lot of great new games coming. Um, and not only that, the games that we are getting, even though they're not like, you can say they're great because of playability reasons, like handheld games, you know, they're fine. Then they're $60 and they stay $60 for like a long time. They don't ever go down in price. Value wise, it's a ripoff. And I feel like having this discussion because Nintendo gets a free pass because of all of the people that are just like, hey, they're doing fine, so they don't need to change. Yeah, that's right. But does that mean we should just say okay? Like, just because they're making money, does that mean that everybody should just say okay? That's fine because they're doing well. I'm happy for them. And I'm happy for the Nintendo's doing well. Yeah, sure. Like, great. That's good for them. It's not good for us. It's not good for the gamer. Like, just because they don't need to, because they're being successful, is not an argument for me that they shouldn't do things a little differently and also care more about their audience and their fans. People that have put them in the position that they are in today over the last 30 years plus, 35 years. I don't even know how long it's been. If you hear that, that's my daughter playing on the Xbox in the next room. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but that's craziness. It is absolutely crazy that we're in this day and age now that we're playing on Nintendo's console. And this is what it is. It's just, I miss Nintendo. This is not Nintendo. Like, I really miss them. And this is coming out of a fan. This is coming out of somebody that has owned every Nintendo console. Okay? I'm not somebody that likes to hate on Nintendo. Like, I don't enjoy hating on Nintendo. That's not what this is about. This is not a fanboy thing. This is not a console war thing. This is calling out a company that has forgotten about who got them there. Right? All of the gamers that have grew up playing the system, playing their systems, playing the console Nintendo experience, they have forgotten about you. They only care about the handheld audience now. They don't care about the console gamer anymore. Because the handheld audience is making them more money, right? So when the Wii U wasn't successful, I think they see it as a failure with the idea and the concept of console gaming and just like focus on what was selling, like handhelds. And hey, let's just make it a 2-in-1 with a handheld and we'll just call it a day. Let's stop even worrying about this console market with the PlayStation and Xbox. We can't really compete with them as far as hardware goes. The thing is, they never really needed to. Like, they can still, like, the Wii U was a capable system for the time. If we had the next iteration of the evolution of Nintendo and still got all that backwards compatibility that they had going on, the virtual console stuff they had going on, and kept pushing that forward with better hardware, could you imagine the Nintendo games we could be getting today? So all these people that are just like, hey, it's fine. Like, Nintendo games are good. Yeah, they are good, but they're also held back so significantly. Don't you want better? Like, don't you want more? Don't you want them to play better? Don't you want to play them at high quality? Like, don't you want them to look better? There's all these games that I would love, and I feel like I'm playing something from 15, 20 years ago at times. And I'm not trying to exaggerate, but like, I feel like I got better experiences on the PS2 with a lot of this stuff, right? Hey, lady. Hey, Phasma. How's it going? Yes, this is some Nintendo talk here. You could call it slander, if you will. Uh, like Rick said, it's just, this is more of a plea of, let's think about why has Nintendo forgotten about the console gamer, right? Like, they get such a free pass, and I see it all the time on Twitter and stuff. And I know people love their Switch, right? There's a lot of people who love the Switch. Like I said, this is a great handheld gaming device. If you are a handheld gamer, hey, this is for you. I'm not a handheld gamer, right? I will play games occasionally as a handheld, but I'm a console gamer. I want to play stuff on my screen. You know, I want to play stuff in front of me, controller, you know. And as that experience goes, I'm just going to say it right now. The Switch sucks. It is so behind the times. I honestly feel like the PS2 had more features than the Nintendo Switch. They just got Bluetooth capability. They make good games. Nintendo makes good games that are held back because of the Switch, because there's not a console to put them on. This is not a console. This is a handheld gaming device that you can dock on a TV or monitor. So when we think about the glory days of Nintendo, for me, I'm thinking of getting games like F-Zero, Star Fox, Mario Party, Mario RPG, Paper Mario. We got all of these other third-party games was coming out on Nintendo. We had new Street Fighters. We had sports games all over the place. We had everything, and it was new, right? They were pushing the boundaries forward in gaming. They were leading the charge. '64 had GoldenEye, which was one of the most popular multiplayer games of the day. Every console they had came out with the next great Mario game. So many great franchises. And now we're just like, okay, we had a great first year with the Switch with games. We had Animal Crossing since then. There's really nothing. I mean, we got Breath of the Wild 2 coming, but could you imagine what Breath of the Wild could look like if it was on an actual gaming console and not on a Switch? Could you imagine what they could do with a Zelda game? Like, that's what I think a lot of the people that are just like blindly just saying, hey, Nintendo, they're fine. You know, they're making good money, so that's cool. You know, they don't need to do anything. I don't care what they need to do. I want better, right? Like, I know they don't need to. If that's all we're talking about, that's all we're caring about is the health of Nintendo's business model. Yeah, they're fine. They're making hand over fist, right? They don't need to do anything right now. Does that mean that we should be okay? I don't think so. I think we should ask for more. I think if you look at the experience that you get with other gaming platforms like the Xbox and the PlayStation and the just a massive amount of options that we have of experiences, of games, options, features, services, online. And then you look at what we get with Nintendo, who used to be leading the charge of gaming, who brought back gaming from the grave in the 80s. That's like, there's just no comparison. It's yeah, Masuko in the chat says, look on YouTube, the Breath of the Wild emulated on PC to 4K 60 frames per second. Yeah, on PC. That's cool. Like, can we get Nintendo to potentially in the future make a gaming console again? Is that just dead? Or have we given up hope as humans, as gamers? Have we accepted the fact now that Nintendo does not make game consoles? It's like a foreign concept to people now. It wasn't that long ago. And lady, I agree. I hate that argument too, that they don't need to, because whenever you say something like, hey, wouldn't it, I remember saying this on Twitter. I was like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if Nintendo had like a service like Game Pass that was like awesome in all of their games? And then just like, hey, they don't need to. They don't need to. Or like, wouldn't it be amazing if Nintendo came out with a gaming console? They don't need to. They don't need to. They don't need to. Yeah, I know they don't need to, but like shit, I want it. Like, does that change the fact that I want it? No, no. Like, so is it wrong to ask us something just because we're probably not going to get it? Like, no. I think if enough people ask for it, there would be a better chance if we actually got this stuff instead of everybody just accepting things, right? Like, we have just come into the land, the reality now, but with everybody accepting the fact that Nintendo doesn't make game consoles anymore. They only make a handheld dockable gaming device. And that's the future of Nintendo because they don't need to make game consoles. That's what everybody accepts. I don't understand that because it's not a foreign concept for them to make gaming consoles. In fact, they didn't make one. They made one not that long ago. That was the last thing they made before the Switch. Nintendo traditionally has always been a console gaming company, and then they have also been had a handheld. Handhelds became so successful for them that that's what they're doing now. Should we just say, okay, they've given up on console gaming? I mean, if they're not competing with Xbox and PlayStation at all anymore, and are only focused on this kind of experience, and they are, we're going to get the Switch 2 or whatever it is, and it's going to be another device probably like this that's more powerful. Is that going to be good enough, or will it be crazy behind in features, just like this is? Probably will be, because guess what? When you make a device small like this, you're always handicapped by the size with cost. Because guess what? Small costs more. Small costs more. Right? Um, this is more expensive because of the size. So if you make a actual legit piece of hardware, you could make a $400 gaming console that's powerful. Look at the Series S. For people say it's not possible, right? Like, look at the Series S. Look at what Xbox is doing with the Series S. The Series S is the same price as this, and it smashes the shit out of it. Nick KhAos says, I'm not sure if Nintendo ever cared about power because they always had their unique IPs, but it's coming to a head, I think. I agree, but here's the thing. Yeah, they may have never cared about power, but back in the day, they wanted to push 3D gaming with Star Fox, with Mario 64. They were leading the charge in innovation and pushing games forward, right? That was a new thing for them, right? Like, they were trying to make games better than other people, right? And not just with like game design, but also with pushing the limits of their hardware. Like, and yeah, they may have been always behind once things went to like bigger, better hardware with the competition. They may have always been behind in power, but they always had a capable enough machine to push stuff with their games to another level. And I think this doesn't, like, the Switch isn't capable of that. Yeah, it's like it's hurt the innovation of Nintendo. They've locked themselves in this box. They've handicapped themselves so much with power that the most exciting innovation that we get is Metroid Dread. They said that we've been waiting for hardware capable enough to make this game for 10 years. And so now we're going to do it now. I'm trying to remember exactly where I was at. My daughter needed help with getting something plugged in. So absolutely apologize about that. But we are back. We are back. Family takes precedent, as always, right? So, I was going over Nintendo and looking at where we're at with the Switch, and we were talking about like innovation. I think with the power of it. Yeah, they've always been behind, right? Like with the major consoles, but they just like are too far behind now. It's not like it was ever really a problem before. Like 64, GameCube, even the Wii and the Wii U, right? It was never really a problem that they were behind. But if you look at the discrepancy of what a new Nintendo game looks like now, like Metroid Dread, which is like one of their big titles, compared to the stuff that's coming out for PS5 and Series X, I mean, that's not just like a gap. I mean, that's a continent. That that difference is huge. And it's not just with the way what the games are capable of with looks. It's also with hardware features and services, online capabilities. Um, it's a toy. They're in the handheld toy market, right? So as what I with the whole point of this is not just to like bash Nintendo, right? It's asking, why have we accepted the fact that this is just what Nintendo is because they don't need to do anything more? I miss playing Nintendo games. I really do. I mean, I went back out and even got another Switch, like for my wife, and I got one again after selling my last one because I wasn't playing it. I played this thing like twice since I've had it a couple months ago, and I just anytime I think about playing it, it's just like, but it's gonna suck. And guess what I do? And it does. Like, you can still have fun with some of the games if that's. I mean, but like I tried. I've gotten almost arguments with people about this, but like Fire Emblem Three Houses, right? Big, huge game for the Switch, right? A game I was super excited about. Looks like a PS. It looks like a PS2 game. I I guess that's okay for everybody. It hampers the experience for me. Like it really does. I want to be excited about new games on this device, on a Nintendo device, not on this device, on a Nintendo device, and I've lost that now. I miss being excited about Nintendo. I miss being excited about what's the next Mario game going to be. Oh, I can't wait to see. I miss waiting for what the next big RPG is going to be on Nintendo because there's great RPGs that come out. But I've lost all the excitement for those announcements because I know they're on this device. Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I was so excited to play that game because I love RPGs, right? I can't play that game. I've tried so many times. It is too rough. It is like I'm not a retro gamer, right? Like if something feels and looks old, I don't enjoy it as much. I like retro gaming when the games are improved and better and they look better than they did before. Like Xbox has when they're doing like FPS boost and stuff like that, right? It gives me a reason to go back and play these games and oh my god, it's better than it ever was, right? But this is like I'm playing new games, and it's like worse than anything else. And even it's sometimes worse than they were back then. So why do we accept it? Like, let's just say, hey, Nintendo, can you please make a gaming console again? You know what I mean? You're making hand over fist, so why not make more? Make console gamers happy too. Improve your services, make more money, right? Um, make it possible, like KMed says, like for multiplats to have an easy time getting on the platform. Guess what? You know how much more money you can make if all of these multiplats are able to be played on your platform instead of having to fight a losing battle to come out on the platform and then be like a shadow of what the game should be. Lady says it speaks volumes that she's so looking forward to Mario Party Superstars, and it's just a remaster of old mini games and levels. Right. This is like we're so excited about this stuff that is because it's something to play, right, on this device that we have, but is not like necessarily excitement for the next cool thing in gaming. Like it's just like, hey, it's just something else to play on this thing. Like I'm curious, like who who here if they in the chat, if you have a Switch, do you play it like in docked mode or do you play it in handheld? Like, are you cool with 30 frames and less now and 1080 or less now? Because some of these games are like 900p or 720, and I've seen some of them even lower than that in less than 30 frames because that's what it takes to get them onto the platform, right? I It's is not like some games are great on it, like some of the Nintendo games, like some of the Mario games and stuff. Because guess what? Like they make them specifically to be able to be played on this device. They're handicapped by it, but they've maximized what they can get out of it for a specific kind of game. That's why the games all have that like uh, cartoony art style because it doesn't take up it's not as hard, right? So they still look gorgeous. A lot of those ones do, but anything else other than that doesn't work. Then you go into the value of it. Like, lady, you're saying, yeah, Luigi's Mansion 3 is a banger. And it's still $60. Unless this went on sale recently, I'm not sure, but uh, yeah, I would love to buy that, but I just can't bring myself to pay $60 for these Nintendo games that have been out for a long time, and they don't get discounted, and they're way behind what games on the other platforms are. It now like that's not they don't put them on sale because guess what? Like people say, they don't need to, right? They sell out the ass. I don't understand what it will take to get Nintendo to do more. Like because the answer is yeah, they don't need to, right? Like everybody says. So what's the answer? How do we get them to do more? Right? How do we get them to make bigger, better games, make it easier for multiplats to come onto the platforms where there's so that way there's more games to play on the device. So that way they look better, right? How do we get that? I don't know how we can get that now. But I'm not accepting it. I'm not like just gonna say, "Hey, well, it's cool." I'm not gonna even talk about it. Like that's what this is about. Like this is about talking about that, right? Am I mad at Nintendo? No. Did I give them money? Yeah, I did. Right? I'm not like for what this is cool, right? This has its place. It shouldn't be the only thing that they do. Like let's say like why can't they have this plus an actual gaming console? Like what if you could like dock this into a game console that is also so you can play your Switch also on your game console, but you have your game console for your like bigger, better games, right? Or maybe like your Switch games get enhanced even more, bam, because of the power of that game console, right? Let's say like something that's as powerful as the Series S, right? Come out with like Series S, a $300 machine, right? My daughter, she's loving that. The games look great on it, right? Could you imagine what Nintendo games would look like on a console as powerful as the Series S? Could you imagine what the next Zelda game we could be getting? You remember when like back in the day when people would like show possibilities of a new Zelda game? There were like always like these crazy like possible like amazing looking like Zelda thing, right? And I was like, "Oh my god, like are Zelda games gonna look like that in the future? I can't wait till we get that." That never happened. You know, like we got Breath of the Wild is cool, you know what I mean? But it doesn't look like that. They can't do that stuff, right? You remember the realistic looking Mario? Um, yeah, like K-Med says, it would be amazing to be able to play Zelda, Mario, on the same console, queue up some COD to play with your home. Yeah, like why is it relegated to this one experience? I don't understand. Like I really miss like for the people that are like these. There's a lot of Nintendo stands out there, right? And they're probably gonna hate this video. They're gonna hate me. I don't care because I'm asking for what I want, right? Like, why can't we get like something that makes everybody happy when they because just because they don't need to doesn't mean that they can't, right? Does anybody in the chat do you think they will ever make a game console again? I don't know. Could you imagine like what Splatoon, a game like Splatoon, could be capable of on the actual gaming console? Um, I just that's what I want for Nintendo. You know, like I want that next great experience that's not so limited by the hardware. It's a sad thing to think about because when you go back and think about the 64 days, right, of playing like Star Fox 64 and Wave Race, Mario Kart 64, Super Mario World. Then we had things like GoldenEye and just like I remember playing like Turok on there, like there's so many games that were coming out, not just from Nintendo. The SNES was even crazier. GameCube had Resident Evil 4 and it looked good on it looked great on there actually. Like, like um Marvel versus Capcom 2, all of these things. I Or was it Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on that? Yeah, I know it was on the Dreamcast. Can't remember for sure. Yeah, and KMed says Resident Evil 4 on the Wii was even serviceable. The Wii was, I would argue that games on the Wii looked as good as the Switch. A lot of them. Yeah, you had Mario Galaxy. It doesn't really look much different on the Switch than it did on the Wii, right? Um, yeah, it's just like and they overcharge for things. They do these weird models of, hey, we're gonna release this game for 3 months and then pull it, right? When other companies are giving like free updates on games from that are like old. And I'm not saying they shouldn't have said $60 is a fair price for 3 games, but if you're gonna remaster, like look at what some of the other companies are doing with remasters, right? Look at Mass Effect. That's EA. What they did with the Mass Effect remaster of 3 games, right? There's a fair comparison here. Talk about a Mario collection that had Sunshine, Mario 64, and Mario Galaxy, right? Okay, so compare that remaster that's $60 to the Mass Effect trilogy remaster that's $60. And the work that was put in by EA on that versus what we got with the Mario thing. The Mass Effect thing is also probably already on sale, or it probably already has been. And guess what? It's going to stay in the storefront. And you can't even buy the Mario thing anymore. I mean, just that's the difference between what Nintendo's doing versus even EA, right? Like as a publisher. Then you had Skyward Sword. 60, was it $60? Somebody please tell me Skyward Sword wasn't $60 for for that remaster. People happy to pay it, right? That came out on the Wii. Sub Neo. It was indeed $60. Holy shit. And how much better was it? Was it like I heard it was better, but like it was it a full on like full fledged remaster where there's a lot put into it, or is it just like upgraded graphics stuff? I mean, to me that something that old that's getting mild upgrades should be like $30, right? Maybe, but again, Nintendo games don't drop in price. It used to be because of rarity. Like these Nintendo games, remember they didn't used to make a lot of cartridges or whatever, so it'd be hard to get, and then you would have trouble finding them, right? So that's the reason that Nintendo games for a long time had held their value because they like actually produced their own rarity by not manufacturing enough. Um, but now it's most of the like a lot of the sales are digital, right? So it's not even that. Like you can buy all these games digital. They're just doing what they can because they can do it. Yeah, Neo says the thing about Nintendo is that we're all guilty on some level on contributing to the problem, and that's why they're going to keep winning. You've pulled back in the last year or so since you've been indoors and don't play Switch as much since you're not out and about. Yeah, and I've never been a handheld gamer. That's my main problem with this is like out and about. Like if I like, I don't know, if I like rode a bus or something, or if I traveled a lot, like I flew a lot or whatever. But either I'm usually working at home or I'm like driving. Can't play the Switch really when I'm driving. And if I'm at home, I'm going to play it in dock mode because I want the best experience I can get. And going around the house and stuff, I'm not just walking around with a Switch and playing it. Like I don't know. It's just not. It's just not my. It's just not what I do. I never have been super into handheld games. I have bought handheld gaming devices mainly to play games that were only on the handhelds, like PS Vita and PSP. There's a lot of games that they only had on there that I couldn't get. You know. Um, Same reason I own a Switch, because there's some games I want to play that are only on this device. But every time I play it, I hate it because I imagine what else I could be playing on, like an actual Nintendo device, like an actual console that looks good. The games look good. They feel better. Like, I don't know. Like, is it just? It's not just me. It can't be just me, right? Like I see level-headed people in this chat. Neo, Lady's a Nintendo fan, and I've contributed to the problem too. Like I barely play this thing, and I've bought a lot of games, right? Or bought a lot of games, right? Um, like I got right here. I got Mario Golf. I got Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Fire Emblem 3 Heroes, Super Smash Ultimate, Splatoon 2, Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Animal Crossing, Super Mario Party, Mario Kart 8. Like I got a lot more too. Like this is just what's installed right now. I barely play them. I've barely played them ever since I got them. I just don't like playing on it. I think the games look like crap for the most part on my screen, either on my little screen, or if I blow them up on a big screen like my 65-inch TV or whatever. Yeah, they don't look good. Especially like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Fire Emblem's 3 Heroes. And those are like the 3 games I was probably most excited about when I bought this thing, or when they came out. It's just like a discouraging thing to like have a new platform and the games look like worse than games that were 15 years old, you know. So hey, let's hope for the future for Nintendo, right? The point of this is to just say, hey, there's people out there that want to get Nintendo game console. Like I want to plug something into my TV that is like the Series S, like at least as powerful as the Series S or close to it. Plug that shit in. Have a great storefront, a good online system, a friends list that is easy to navigate and send people in friend requests and party chat. Like I just want the whole shebang, right? And I want a backwards compatibility in a virtual console again, like they were doing with the Wii and the Wii U. They have gone backwards with features. They've gone backwards. Like I want them to go forwards. Come on, Nintendo, go forwards, right? We just got Bluetooth. Yes. Let's celebrate. So Nintendo Neo says the Switch is not a great game console or a great hold on, I lost that. Yeah, Switch is not a great game console or a great piece of tech. It's lacking in basic features. Sure, you can load up a game, but that's it. Yeah. Um, I can't even get my daughter really into it because she has an Xbox, right? Like the games, like they don't think the games look good. I don't blame her. Like her iPad games like 10 times better than the Switch. So she's the iPad she plays on. She plays on her Xbox. We got her a Series S. I would be all over getting her a Nintendo console. $300, $400. Take my money. If you make it powerful and great, $500. Take it. Actual game console with all those features. There's an audience. What would y'all say is fair for like a super high quality? Like, what do y'all want out of a Nintendo console? Right? Not this hybrid thing, but like let's say like an actual Nintendo console, like where you're excited about. Wow, next Nintendo games are going to be amazing. Right? Like what? Like, would you pay $400 for that? Let's say Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 was announced, and it's 1440p, 60 frames per second, and looks amazing. Just want Nintendo to meet the basis. Yeah, just give us the basis. Like, you know, that's what I want too. I say 1440p, 60 frames. You know, good quality games that have you can port multiplats there, right? And they still look decent, play well. Like Fortnite on the Switch. Oh my gosh, have y'all played Fortnite on the Switch? Oh my gosh, it is like horrible compared to everything else. So hey, let's do it, Nintendo. Like, make a Series S quality Nintendo, and if you want to put a dock on it, right? You can set this sucker on top of it, and you get your Switch games automatically on that as well. You're achieving two things there. You're gonna make an enhanced feature, so you're gonna sell more of these, right? Let's say it gets boosted, right, power wise, so your Switch games look even better, right? Why not? Let's do that. That'd be cool. Instead of having a dock, like the actual Nintendo console you got has this little dock spot on top. You just set the sucker on it. I'd be down. And then you know what? You could even take the capability of console streaming as well. So you could take your handheld Switch, and then you can stream your games from your actual console onto your handheld, right? Like they did with the gamepad, like Wii U gamepad. Remember that shit? The thing is, like, I agree with you, Neo, with this comment. He says, I wouldn't be surprised if the next Switch is still weaker than the Series S. Microsoft is losing money on that machine, so ain't no way Nintendo will do the same. I agree. But here's why. Because it's going to be another Switch, like handheld shit. And they're handicapped by the size. If they had, like, next year, they were able to come out with something that's $300, by that time, Xbox will be making money on the Series S, right? Or let's say 2 years from now, even, right? By that time, Xbox will definitely be making money on their Series S's. If Nintendo was in the plans of making another console and they came out with a device, $300, maybe like overcharge us $400 for that. If it had those extra capabilities that wouldn't cost them a lot to implement on the hardware level, for the Switch to be docked onto that sucker, um, then like if it was like a bigger machine, it wouldn't cost as much as like all the like handheld stuff. That's why like cell phones cost so damn much, right? Um, that's the Series X and the PS5 are able to get all this shit into like a $500 box. And right now they may be losing money, but soon they will be profitable on them. You know, Series S $300. Soon they'll be profitable on it. We released a new Switch for $400. Not a Switch, but a game console Nintendo device, and we can dock your Switch on top of it. $400, 300 to $400, 350, right? Something, and then have games in the works that are gonna look better, play better, and you're gonna get the multiplats on there. You're gonna be able to sell those suckers as well. You know, they're already coming to Series S, so it wouldn't be hard for them to port that version over, right? That way, you know, parents that want to buy their kids in a Switch device or Nintendo device aren't going to be handicapped to just the handheld in the future and what the power capabilities are of that. I don't know. Like, I just think the size is a handicap, power wise. You're gonna have to use cell phone shit. Um, all the cell phone stuff, you know, like it's fine. I forget the name of the chips like that they use, but I don't know. They don't. This thing is so dated. It's 4 years old. So dated. I don't know. I don't remember like how much the Wii U was. Does anybody remember how much the Wii U was? Was it 350? Tegra. That's what it was. Tegra. Thank you. The 350 for the Wii U was it 299? Or they had like two SKUs, I think. They had like a Wii U Pro or something that had like a little bit bigger hard drive. Um, I'm not sure what the most 350 for deluxe with more storage. Yeah, I bought the 350 one. That console had backwards compatibility. It had a virtual console storefront. It allows you to use your controllers from the Wii. Games looked better than they do on the Switch today. The only problems it had, no, not enough games in development for it, and at marketing. People didn't know what the hell it was. They should have like had a whole different name, theme, brand for it. You know, Wii U was confusing. They didn't push it like they did the Wii. The Wii they made one of the reasons the Wii was so successful was the marketing push they did for that device was unlike anything we had seen from a gaming console. I mean, they were set up in malls all over the place, ready to hand people the controllers, get people to test it. You know, they were all over the place. Um, and then you had people that were not gamers buying the Wii. People that were like, "Oh, this is fun to do with the family." You know, like they could grasp it, they could understand. Okay, I just do this. You know, I get that. And they got people that got their hands on it. The Wii U came out and they just showed the gamepad. I was like, "This is the new console," and people were like, "What? I don't understand. Is it just go to my Wii? Is it like an add-on?" They didn't really explain it very well, and even to like the hardcore gamers, like they didn't explain it very well. So I can imagine being a casual um family that just bought a Wii just because understanding what the Wii U was. And like the 3DS kept getting more popular and more popular. They were selling really well. The handhelds, they're realizing, okay, this isn't selling, this is selling. So let's just figure out how to make it all one now and just get out of the console business. We're just going to focus on what's making money. But people forget it, they were making consoles. Like, people act like this is only all Nintendo's ever been today. It's like so short-minded to think that Nintendo could make a console is like such a weird concept to people now. Because they don't need to. Let's do it. Come on, Nintendo. I miss you. I miss you, Nintendo. Let's go. Come back. Let's get a new Star Fox. Let's get a new F-Zero. Let's get more Mario, more different of all the different Mario games, but bigger, better, newer, grander. Let's get even crazier Zelda games, bigger, better. Let's get multiplats on there. Let's have Street Fighter come back or something and be on the Nintendo. Or like, I don't know, crazy shit. Like, let's just do like Nintendo could be so amazing with so many different things if they wanted to be, but they're just handicapped. So that's exactly what we're talking about earlier, bro. There was a time and place Nintendo used to compete. Time has passed. But that's gonna do it for this, guys. This is just an impromptu stream / plea. Like, I'll do this again. I'm not gonna only do one of these for Nintendo. I need to like get more off my chest with them in the future. Maybe I'll do with a guest or something. But hey, everybody, appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out. This is different for the channel. I'm usually like, hey, let's talk about all this fun, awesome stuff, right? It's just, man, I was just thinking about it earlier. I was listening to Iron Lords and then started talking about Nintendo, and I was just like, man, I got to get some stuff off the chest. And let's just make a plea. The more people that ask for it, it's more possible, right? That's just what I think in my head. Just because I don't need to doesn't mean we can't ask. So why not ask, right? The more people that ask, the more possible it can become. So this is my way of asking. Nintendo, hey, I miss you. Like, let's go. Don't forget about me, right? Don't forget about the console gamer that loves that next generation feeling of greatness, that doesn't want to be ripped off. Hey, thank you guys. Appreciate it. It was fun. Have a good one. And thanks for hanging out. Bye-bye.